Hello, welcome to today's channel update. Been a crazy 5 or so weeks. It's almost where to begin. Life's thrown curveballs, you know. Still trying to adapt to the situation we've got. It's hard to get a routine again, where I can have certain periods of time where I can actually do recording. There's a lot more activity in the house now than there was, and it's hard to get that time when it's quiet. So that's one of the reasons there's been kind of a slowdown of, if you will, of content release. So sorry about that. Trying to figure a way to improve that, but we'll have to see what I can come up with. Trying to get a routine down. It does take some time, but so what's also hard to get used to is there's 4 of us again in the house, and we're all competing for time on the Wi-Fi and the bandwidth, and so I'm way behind watching videos and such from most of you even. I kind of feel bad about that. I feel almost disconnected at times. So I don't know. That's just where it is. This week though, turned out I was sick for a good portion of it. I still have a cough I'm trying to get rid of, so you may see some oddly placed edits. It might be me getting rid of a cough, but one of the things that the month has shown me is that it's almost been a time of reflection. Trying to remember what drives me and what I like, what I don't like, and it's been really enjoyable to do videos and watch videos and build models, paint. But what I found out is I remember now, I don't enjoy the painting aspect as much as I enjoy the conversions, the modeling, the actual construction part. That to me is the biggest thrill. Now, the only time that painting becomes like primary goal number 1 is when I have a new model I'm really excited about, and I can't wait for it to come to life with the colors that I've imagined in my head. That is great. So whenever you see like the Wraith Knight or the Bauv or the Exite Mind Layer, which I love the conversion work I did on it. Just couldn't wait to do that. But I love the painting of that because I was bringing to life that final step. But after you paint your 14th guardsman, heck, after you paint your 3rd, or at least me, it's boring. After you paint your 5th tank, it can be boring. And I realized that I don't want to force myself to do it, because when I do that, I do not have the end results that I want, the quality. I don't have the clean lines. It's passable, great for a tabletop, but it's not what I really wanted to accomplish. So this month there hasn't been a whole lot of painting activity going on, not as much as I wanted. So one of the reasons you've seen fewer updates, project updates. Now, as far as the Titanosaur goes, I'm way far away from painting on that one. But I spent most of the modeling time on that actually doing research. And so it's kind of hard to film an exciting research video with different things I'm looking at, trying to come up with the different arrangements of the harness and the details that'll be on it. Because in order to build the next step and put the harness down on that model, I need to know what's going to be where, so I know how to build it and how to lay the contours properly. So a lot of time's been spent researching that. So I guess there has been some progress forward. Another thing I kind of learned this month, again while painting, is I really almost had a revelation. I started painting, let's just say decades ago, okay? We won't go into exact time scales here. But when I started, the paints available to me in hobby shops were, good old testers, 1/4 ounce glass jars. The stuff that was so thick you could almost treat it like butter. Then there was, there were some Tamiya, Humbrol, stuff like that. Monogram models came out stuff. But again, some of those were kind of thick. Didn't have access or didn't have a lot of airbrushing resources available to me at the time. I didn't pick that up until, I don't know, maybe it's what, 30 years ago? Yeah, about a little under 30 years ago. But when I first started painting, is getting into the my role-playing game figures, the widest variety of paints, colors, or whatever that were available were actually from Delta, which is a craft art. Now it's a good quality craft art paint, acrylic, but it's still a craft art. Okay, Monogram had some good colors, which I also used, especially some of their the earth tones and stuff, because when you're doing leathers and whatever, those work. But we didn't have Vallejo and Reaper paints, or at least I didn't have access to them, and Citadel, right? Now, what was interesting is I've developed for the last 5 years now, painted my armies up using all these other paints, and I've learned a lot. Now, there are some really good primers out there, real good paint companies. I've had to kind of came to a realization that I think I've plateaued at the quality I can do with my models, painting wise, with the paints I have. At one point I'd heard artists saying, paint doesn't matter, the skill matters. Well, I think he might be right when you're talking about oil paints or watercolors, that kind of thing. Like paint on, fur frames, what have you. But when it comes to miniatures and modeling, it does matter. The paint itself does matter. The manufacturer does matter. And so, what I'm going to do, you're going to start seeing me phase out different of my Delta colors and replace them with Vallejo, Reaper, GW, Citadel paints that match as closely as possible, because the colors is what I'm going for. I'm not loyal to any particular brand, so that was actually a kind of a revelation. And the biggest place I found it was when I was trying to do flesh tones and getting some good shading on that. The textures, I couldn't get a smooth enough finish with the colors. I mean, I get the colors I wanted, just not a smooth enough finish. So I learned a lot as I really started to pay attention, getting frustrated and not being able to achieve what I'm looking for, unless you happen to be using the right, what I consider the right paint. I don't know if you can tell through the video, but the 2 dust flyers I used for my Imperial Guard lightnings, I used Vallejo paints through an airbrush on those. They are absolutely beautiful. Came out exquisite. At least I think so. When I use Army Painter foundation, the primer on my vehicles, perfect. Comes out great. Start putting the Delta colors on it. The colors match. They're exactly what I wanted. But unfortunately, not quite the texture I'm looking for. You can tell it's a paint as opposed to just a color that's added to the tank. So I don't know if it makes sense or not. So that was a revelation. So you'll start seeing some changes there. But in the process of being ill this week, I finally got some time alone and was able to catch up on a lot of the videos I've been putting in my watch later list. Some of them I've realized were like a month old. By the way, Nick, congratulations on the results at your tournament last month. Okay, that's kind of how long it's been. It's been crazy here. Now, what's really cool is that at this point, I'm seeing some of these projects coming together up here, which is really where a lot of it happens. And so I'm starting to see the next steps coming. Now, unfortunately, we've got spring coming, good weather. There are other things that are going to, vie for my time. So I'm still trying to hope to get these things, keep them on track. But I do want to start keeping regular videos. When I decided to make the Academy a weekly video, that was really helpful because that forces me to make the time to do this. I can carve out 20 minutes, a half an hour to record, usually late at night, but just enough time to get that one done, so I can get that out during the week. But again, I have to find time to edit it. So there's just, again, trying to adapt to new schedules, what have you. Now, some cool things are coming up. One is you'll soon see, because we hit 100 subscribers, told you I started a Q&A series, so you'll see an introduction to that come out. So I don't know how that'll go. We'll kind of just play it by ear and see what happens. Maybe once a month, or we'll just see how the questions come in. I do look forward to it. I want to be there to answer your guys' questions, whatever it is, give you a chance to find out more about me or whatever it is you're interested in. Okay. Next thing is, it's kind of interesting because some things are going to start happening on the channel that are kind of exciting for me. We're going to be starting Frostgrave up, hopefully this spring. Now, Frostgrave, for those of you who don't know, is a skirmish game in a fantasy setting, featuring magic user and his apprentice with a small warband. So think in terms of Mordheim, but the rule set's a little slightly simpler, and there aren't as many factions. But I think it's a fun game. It sounds like a lot of fun. Got my characters all figured out. Didn't need to do any painting for this one because I'm actually leveraging some models I've had since I was in college, and just when I was doing role-playing games, I had come up with all these character concepts based around miniatures that I bought and painted, and I actually get to use those in this game. So I don't know exactly how I'm going to do the videos on that yet. I will do bat reps, but I'll probably just kind of turn-by-turn summaries. I've seen the game played on video before, and it seems to get hard to follow with all the dice rolling. So I think I'll just do narration. Very similar, I guess, in style to what Winter's SCO does with his regular 40k battle reports. I think that will lend itself well to a Frostgrave. The next thing that we're going to start up is, hopefully actually this Saturday, is Rogue Stars. For those who don't know what that is, it is a science fiction skirmish game, really small scale. This is actually the book for it. Let's see, it's Osprey Games, so very well-known company, and it's only a warband, a team of 4 to 6 miniatures. That's all you get, and it's a campaign-based, though it can pick up games too. And again, here I'm trying to leverage models I already have in my sci-fi world. Some of them, again, character and concepts I had from back in my role-playing days in college or just after. So didn't require any work on the model side, just required work on the trying to figure out what character it's going to be. So now I don't know. I've never played that. Never seen it played. I don't know if it'll lend itself well to videoing anything, but that's coming up. That's something I'm doing as well. We'll see what happens. Another breaking kind of story. It's kind of a good news, bad news kind of thing, personally for me. Is my group's going to start doing bolt action as well. Good news is I now have a reason to cave to my desire that I've had for 2 years to get these certain models. The bad news is twofold. Don't know if I'm actually able to afford it right now, but worse than that is that most of the guys are actually working with a mid to late era armies, so medium tanks. For those who don't know, bolt action is really a platoon level kind of a miniature skirmish. It's not really a skirmish game, it's a battle game, along the lines of a 40k style as far as size. 20, 30, 40 miniatures on the table. But you take a platoon and you reinforce it with a tank here, or a howitzer here, anti-aircraft here. It's not a whole unit of 4 tanks and 10 trucks or whatever. It's a little more balanced, and that's infantry action. So that's good, but my interest and my passion that I'm excited for this game about is the early war years with the Polish army, specifically the 10th Motorized Brigade, the unit that became the cadre of the 1st Armored Division in 1943. Unfortunately, those are early war vehicles, early war anti-tank rifles, early war guns. I don't think, as I read through the game system, I don't think I'll have the strength of units to handle some of that armor. Now, as far as infantry, I have no problem. I'll be able to handle the enemy infantry just fine. But I'm really excited with the models because they've got the actual 10th Motorized Brigade models, which had a very unique uniform, both with their NCOs and their troops, so completely separate from the Polish army, the rest of the Polish army. They also, of course, have the tanks for it and the armored cars. It's just I really want to get into that, but I don't know if it'll be as much fun going up against those heavier tanks like the Shermans and the Panthers and the Tigers that I know are going to be out there. We'll have to see how it all plays out. Now, those I would like to actually videotape, do bat rips on, do some things there, because again, my channel is more than just 40K. It really is tabletop warfare, and I try to apply things in general to that. I absolutely love 40K. It's a good rule set. You know, everybody's got their own opinions about it. I enjoy it the way it is. To me, it's fine. I mean, there's always things that could be better. We all think that. We all have our opinions, but bolt action kind of goes back to my roots. I cut my teeth on World War II simulations and war games, and this is finally my chance to get back to that. Looking forward to it. We'll have to see how well that plays out. Finances, hopefully. And one other thing that kind of hit me, it's like one of these things, you can't see the forest for the trees sometimes. I'm going to be kind of transparent here. I modeled my vehicle camouflage schemes for my Imperial Guard after the Wehrmacht's Western European mid-war, almost later war, three-color paint scheme. Very similar. I didn't have the quite right yellow that they used, but I wasn't going for the exact colors. I was going for the pattern, right? But it had to be that light golden yellow, tan, brown, and green. Okay. Well, as mentioned before, getting the bolt action started really pouring over all the Polish stuff, and I dawned on me, I never really consciously saw it before, but the paint scheme I actually used on those Imperial Guard vehicles is straight out of the Polish vehicle camouflage schemes, almost to the point where the colors are identical. It's ridiculous. So I guess a part of me has always wanted to have a Polish army. So I just thought it was kind of fun. It was just a little humorous thing I learned during this last month. So that's what it is. So Nick, you put a good challenge out there with this terrain challenge corner version, terrain square competition. You know, of all the things that I've been planning terrain-wise, corners had nothing to do with it, which is kind of surprising. You know, it's such a simple concept, and yet it's one we often don't think about unless it comes with a kit we buy, right? So I honestly don't really know what I'm gonna do for that terrain challenge. I do want to enjoy it. Now, the reality is, though, I'll be fair. There's stuff coming, and it's kind of interesting because I have the opportunity to do a custom paint job on a kit. One of my friends is actually designing, and he's going to be selling an Adepticon. So that's going to take us some time during March. We'll have to see how much time I can pull away and do terrain work. But I have a feeling that I could probably scrape together something. I just have no clue exactly what. Now, if you think back on my armies, I've got Eldar, Dark Eldar, and Tyranid Codexes to do my Exodites. That's very natural terrain, if you will, and you don't find a lot of right angle corners in nature. And even the architecture of many of the Eldar-ish type things don't lend itself well to 90-degree angles. Guard? Okay, well, I can do buildings and what have you. But I don't know what I'd be interested in doing. So maybe there is something in the guard space. Have to see. Tau, they like circles, and they like hexagons. There are no right angles in hexagons, so I don't quite know if I'll be able to tie anything into there. Yeah, I was just searching for inspiration, searching for ideas. So, but what to do? Nick? Really? That's a curveball, considering it is a corner you're trying to look for here. So, I will keep you posted. Hopefully this will be a little bit of fun. So that's basically what's been going on with the channel for the last month and what have you. Not a whole lot of activity. Giving myself a few breaks to try to mentally deal with the adjustments and get to the point where I can figure out my schedule again. We'll just have to see what plays out. So we'll see what's coming. Stay tuned for a few special announcements that come out, and I'll see you in the next video. Alright, take care. Bye-bye.